Shalom. Shalom and welcome. This is Man's Final Steps. Yes, indeed, Man's Final Steps. Excuse me. This is a continuing series. It's a continuing series with messages to those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 and multitude mentioned in Revelations chapters 7 and 14. My name is Symmanayah, and today is March 2nd, 2014, and these are the words I am compelled to present. In this segment of Man's Final Steps, it is entitled Contradictions in Hypocrisy Revealed. Contradictions in Hypocrisy Revealed. This is part 1. Note, this segment will be broken into 2 parts due to its projected length. Upon completion of part 2, I will make it a playlist for ease of listening. With that said, my brothers and sisters, as I mention often, we have entered into a time like never before witnessed by man. End times. Scriptures foretell of the last days before the return of Yahushua, our Mashiach, our Messiah, that they would be filled with famine, drought, pestilence, and disease, not to mention death. By now you may know, it is no secret, that I am compelled to believe in the wake of these will come chaos, civil unrest, turmoil, violence, economic distress, and more, much more, like man has never before witnessed. Whirlwinds and storms will also increase in the coming days during end-time prophecy fulfillment. I am also compelled to believe there will be an emergence of the 144,000 and multitude who are being refined each moment. I believe during the refining of the children of obedience, we will witness contradictions and hypocrisy revealed for the purposes of unifying a growing group and fulfilling all that is written in scriptures regarding end-time participants. This segment again is entitled Contradictions and Hypocrisy Revealed. Allow me to introduce the following definitions. Contradictions is defined as follows: a combination of statements, ideas, or features of a situation that are opposed to one another. Another definition for contradiction is a situation in which inherent factors, actions, or propositions are inconsistent or contrary to one another, fighting against one another. Hypocrisy is defined as the behavior of people who do things they tell other people not to do, behavior that does not agree with what someone claims to believe or feel. Another definition of hypocrisy is the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. A third definition of hypocrisy is the practice of professing standards, belief, etc., contrary to one's real character or actual behavior. Allow me to introduce the following scriptures, my brothers and sisters. 1 Corinthians 4:20 says, "For the reign of Elohim is not in speech, but in power." And I have mentioned this before, my brothers and sisters. Actions speak louder than words. Our behaviors, our practices speak louder than words. Again, 1 Corinthians 4:20 says, "For the reign of Elohim is not in speech, but in power." 2 Corinthians 4:16 reads, "Therefore we do not lose heart, but even if our outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day." Matthew 23 verses 25 through 28 reads, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you clean the outside of the cup, dish, but inside they are filled with plunder and unrighteousness. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, so that the outside of them becomes clean too. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly indeed look well, but inside are filled with dead man's bones and all uncleanness. So you too outwardly indeed appear righteous to men, but inside you are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness." Mark 7:6. That was Matthew 23:25 through 28. Mark 7:6 reads, "And he answered and said to them, Well, did Yeshayahu, or Isaiah to some of you, Prophesy concerning you hypocrites, as it has been written, the people respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. That was Mark 7:6. Luke 12:56 say, hypocrites, you know to discern the face of the heaven and of the earth, but how is it you do not discern this time? My brothers and sisters, while there are those among us who do not take this journey serious, there are others who earnestly hunger and thirst after righteousness, but sometimes get caught in the snare of those who are misguided. I have witnessed many who are void of hearing the righteous instructions from the Spirit of Yahushua, whether it's directly or through a brother or a sister or through a chosen leader from the Spirit of Yahushua. Yes, they seem to be void of listening to them. There are many among us who mean well. Yes, there are those that have good intentions. But I submit to you, good intentions does not always equal righteous actions of obedience. If you doubt these words, consider what happened to Uzzah in 2 Samuel 6:7. For he had good intentions, but he was disobedient and was killed by the hand of the Almighty Father. As we discover truths that have been hidden from us over the centuries, there are those who have been overtaken with over-eagerness. Yes, many have given into being overeager, or have been overtaken by over-anxiousness. As a result, they lose patience. Out of impatience, we see actions that do not demonstrate a trust in the words mentioned in scriptures regarding our teaching. In other words, I've witnessed people who state strongly their belief in Torah, the Ten Commandments, the existence of our Mashiach, our Messiah, Yahushua, and more. But in their actions, we see something totally different. Let me give some examples. I ask you to be patient with me. Remember, the Almighty Father Yahuwah sent his set-apart Spirit in Yahushua's name to teach us and remind us of all that he has said to us. Remember, we serve a living Savior. Never forget the necessity to establish a relationship with he that is alive and almighty. With that said, let me present some things to consider. There are people, and most disappointing, self-appointed mores, teachers, elders, and leaders, etc., who say they obey the Ten Commandments, but in their actions, blatant disregard for the second commandment. Allow me to present what is stated in the second commandment. Exodus 24 reads, you do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. No images, no carved images, no any likeness of things from above. Now I ask you, if we stroll around and portray and demonstrate and promote menorahs, the seven-pointed candlestick or lampstand, some even have more points than seven, or jewelry with menorahs, or carvings of the names Yahuwah and Yahushua, pictures with images in or embroidered garments of which we believe to resemble set-apart elements, do these violate Scripture? Are these likeness of images from above? Do they violate the second commandment? Do the display in or wearing of any of these disregard the second commandment? We have witnessed in scriptures how even the Pharisees and Sadducees took on vanity and flair with extravagant arraignment, attire, or clothing. Why do we allow ourselves to be seduced into such same behaviors? My brothers and sisters, there's nothing wrong with having clean and neat garments. There's nothing wrong with having conservative dress and covering our loins, for this is what we are ordered to do. My art is with those who display the name Yahuwah, Yahushua, the menorah, images of what they believe to be from above. Let us be simple. Let us be conservative. Let us be obedient to the Spirit of the Most High. Allow me to present something else, my brothers and sisters. What about those who promote these pictures and the wearing of garments, but yet they claim to be teachers, mores, appointed by the Most High. What about these practices and behaviors? Let me ask you this question, my brothers and sisters. Because someone teaches Hebrew, or because someone is said they are a leader, does that give them the authority to purchase disregard of the second commandment? Let me bring something else to your attention. Are you aware that during the years when our ancient language was spoken, evil was present and wicked influences ran rampant? Some people think by just returning to the ancient language that that's where the strength is. I submit to you, yes, there are some corrections. Yes, there are things we must come away from that have pagan, false idol influence. But I also submit to you, by going to the ancient language, there was wickedness and rebellion then as well. Are you aware that men fell during the time we had one single language? Yes, there was rebellion, there was wickedness. Now I ask you, because a person presents to you the awareness of the perceived Hebrew language, or because they present to you self-appointed attractive titles that promote a perceived sense of righteousness, should these characteristics buy or purchase your allegiance to just plain outright ignore the second commandment? In other words, my brothers and sisters, I have witnessed the self-appointed leaders and mores and teachers who claim it is okay to wear garments and promote wicked disregard for the second commandment. I have witnessed camps and groups grow, thinking they are doing the right thing by wearing so-called set-apart garments with embroidered image on them with the name of the Father and our Mashiach, Yahushua, or a menorah. Many have been overtaken by mores and teachers who claim to know the ancient way but fail to honor the very things they claim to believe. This is a total contradiction and hypocrisy, my brothers and sisters. There are many who have been overtaken by these individuals who process what these leaders are saying as right and correct. Yes, they process these leaders as knowledgeable of the ancient way. Failure to demonstrate, failure to admit that there is also something called ancient evil ways, like the Pharisees and Sadducees. There are some who have gone and embraced it as good intentions, but again, remember, good intentions do not always equal righteous obedience. Pray earnestly on these words, my brothers and sisters. We are entering into a time of intense refinement. Though the children of obedience are not appointed to the wrath of the Almighty Father Yahuwah, we are promised discipline, correction, reproof, and right rulings. There's nothing wrong with wearing garments that cover the loins. There's nothing wrong with wearing the garments that are conservative. It is the embroideries, it is the images that violate the second commandment that is pure wicked and evil, regardless of who tells you it is okay. Do not succumb. Do not be overtaken by those who appear to be very knowledgeable, whether it be Hebrew language or the Hebrew way. That does not give them license to sell to you blatant disregard of the second commandment. I will stop at this point for part one, but know this: there are mores, teachers, and leaders. There are those that are indeed chosen by the Spirit of Yahushua and who will receive reproof and correction. So there are those who are indeed mores, leaders, teachers that are chosen by the Spirit of Yahushua that will receive reproof and they will be refined. But there are also those who have no intentions of worshiping and obeying the Almighty Father. Be alert, be aware, and seek to discern and understand the difference, my brothers and sisters. I invite you to continue along as we move to part 2 of this segment, Contradictions and Hypocrisy Revealed. So stay tuned for part 2. Shalom, shalom, shalom.